Welcome, welcome, crew, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes, whoever may be listening beyond the omniverse tonight. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Saturday, July 14th, Sunday, July 15th for those of you across the pond and beyond. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and we are broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. If you're listening live right now, you may be listening to us on Spreaker under We Are Paradox Media. You can also find us on KPNL Radio, which you can find at kpnlradio at kpnl-db.com, as well as eTalk Radio, which you can find at etalk.tv/radio. If you like to watch as well as listen, sorry, I'm melting. You can find us on Facebook under We Are Paradox Media. If you don't mind, mosey on over to our YouTube channel and give us a like there. Please follow, subscribe, and leave us any comments, whether good or bad, on videos that you have watched or listened to. Also, you can find us on Twitch, and if you like to listen in your free time, whether you're working it or working out, feel free to tune into us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Can somebody please turn the heat down? It's so freaking hot. I'm melting. It's very uncouth. Oh, sorry. Oy. Oh, yeah. Alright, so we're going to get back into our book by Mr. Douglas Adams. It's The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. This is the second book in this series. We're getting pretty close to the end of it, but it's been pretty awesome so far. Chapter 18. The main reception foyer was almost empty, but Ford nevertheless weaved his way through it. Zaphod grasped him firmly by the arm and maneuvered him into a cubicle standing to one side of the entrance hall. "What are you doing to him?" asked Arthur. "Sobering him up," said Zaphod, and pushed a coin into a slot. Lights flashed, gases swirled. "Hi," said Ford, stepping out a moment later. "Where are we going?" "Down to the parking lot, come on." "What about the personal time teleports?" said Ford. "Get us straight back to the heart of gold." "Yeah, but I've cooled on that ship. Zarniwoop can have it. I don't want to play his games. Let's see what we can find." A Sirius Cybernetics Corporation Happy Vertical People Transporter took them down deep into the substrata beneath the restaurant. They were glad to see it had been vandalized and didn't try to make them happy as well as it takes them down. At the bottom of the shaft, the elevator doors opened and a blast of cold air hit them. I wish I had a blast of cold air hitting me, holy shnikes. It's so hot. The first thing they saw on leaving the elevator was a long concrete wall with over 50 doors in it, offering lavatory facilities for all the 50 major life forms. Nevertheless, like every parking lot in the galaxy throughout the entire history of parking lots, this parking lot smelled predominantly of impatience. They turned a corner and found themselves on a moving catwalk that traversed a vast cavernous space that stretched off into a dim distance. It was divided off into bays, each of which contained a spaceship belonging to one of the diners upstairs. Some smallish and utilitarian mass production models, others vast shining limo ships, playthings of the very rich. Zaphod's eyes sparkled with something that may or may not have been avarice as he passed over them. In fact, it's best to be clear on this point. Avarice is definitely what it was. "There he is," said Trillian. "Marvin down there." They looked where she was pointing. Dimly, they could see a small metal figure, listlessly rubbing a small rag in one remote corner of a giant silver sun cruiser. At short intervals along the moving catwalk, wide, transparent tubes led down to the floor level. Zaphod stepped off the catwalk into one of these, floating gently downward. The others followed. Thinking back to this later, Arthur Dent thought it was the single most enjoyable experience of his travels in the galaxy. "Hey, Marvin," said Zaphod, striding over toward him. Hey kid, are we pleased to see you? Marvin turned, and insofar as it is possible, for totally inert metal face to look reproachful, this is what it did. No, you're not, he had said. No one ever is. Suit yourself, said Zaphod, turned away to ogle the ships. Ford went with him. Only Trillian and Arthur actually went up to Marvin. No, really we are, said Trillian and patted him on the way that he disliked intensely. Hanging around waiting for us all this time. 576,000,003,579 years, said Marvin. I counted them. Well, here we are now, said Trillian, feeling quite correctly, in Marvin's view, that it was a slightly foolish thing to say. The first 10 million years were the worst, said Marvin, and the second 10 million years, they were the worst too. The third 10 million, I didn't enjoy at all. After that, I went into a bit of a decline. He paused just long enough to make them feel that they ought to say something and then interrupted. It's the people you meet in this job that really get you down, he said, and paused again. Trillian cleared her throat. Is that? The best conversation I had was over 40 million years ago, continued Marvin. Again, the pause. And that was with a coffee machine. He waited. You don't like talking to me, do you? Said Marvin in a low, desolate tone. Trillian talked to Arthur instead. Farther down the chamber, Ford Prefect had found something of which he very much liked to look. Several such things, in fact. Zaphod, he said, in a quiet voice, just look at some of these little star trolleys. Zaphod looked and liked. The craft they were looking at was in fact pretty small, but extraordinary, and very much a rich kid's toy. It was not much to look at. It resembled nothing so much as a paper dart, about 20 feet long, made of thin but tough metal foil. At the rear end was a small horizontal two-man cockpit. It had a tiny, charming drive engine, which was not capable of moving it at any great speed. The thing it did have, however, was a heat sink. The heat sink had a mass of some 2,000 billion tons and was contained within a black hole mounted in an electromagnetic field situated halfway along the length of the ship. And this heat sink enabled the craft to be maneuvered to within a few miles of a yellow sun, there to catch the ride and the solar flares that burst out from its surface. Excuse me. Flare riding is one of the most exotic and exhilarating sports in existence, and those who can dare and afford to do it are among the most lionized men in the galaxy. It is also, the course, stupefyingly dangerous. Those who don't die riding variable die of sexual exhaustion at one of the Daedalus Club's après-flare parties. Ford and Zaphod looked and passed on. And this baby, said Ford, the tangerine star buggy with the black sunbursts. Again, the star buggy was a small ship, a totally misnamed one, in fact, because the one thing couldn't manage to was interstellar distances. Basically, it was a sporty plant hopper, dolled up to look like something it wasn't. Nice lines, though. They passed on. The next one was a big one, and 30 yards long. A coach limo ship, and obviously designed with one aim in mind, that of making the beholder sick with envy. The paintwork and accessory detail clearly said, not only am I rich enough to afford this ship, I'm also rich enough not to take it seriously. It was wonderfully hideous. Just look at it, said Zaphod. Multi-cluster quark drive. Perspex running boards. Gotta be a Laslar Lyricon custom job. He examined every inch. Yes, he said. Look, the infra-pink lizard emblem on the neutrino cowling. Laslar's trademark. The man was no shame. I was passed by one of these mothers once. Out by the Axel Nebula, said Ford. I was going flat out and this thing just strolled past me. Star drive hardly ticking over. Just incredible. Zaphod whistled appreciatively. 10 seconds later, said Ford, it smashed straight into the third moon of Jaglin Beta. Yeah, right. Amazing looking ship, though. Looks like a fish, moves like a fish, steers like a cow. Ford looked round the other side. Hey, come see, he called out. There's a big mural painted on this side. Bursting sun, disaster area's trademark. Thus must be the hot black ship. Lucky old bugger. They did this terrible song, you know, which ends with the stunt ship crashing into the sun. Meant to be an amazing spectacle. Expensive in stunt ships, though. Zaphod's attention, however, was elsewhere. His attention was riveted on the ship standing next to hot black Desiato's limo. His mouth hung open. That, he said, that is really bad for the eyes. Ford looked. He, too, stood astonished. It was a ship of classic simple design, like a flattened salmon, 20 yards long. Very clean, very sleek. There was just one remarkable thing about it. It's so black, said Ford Prefect. You can hardly make out its shape. Light just seems to fall into it. Zaphod said nothing. He'd simply fallen in love. The blackness of it was so extreme that it was almost impossible to tell how close you were standing to it. Your eyes just slid off of it, said Ford in wonder. It was an emotional moment. He bit his lip. Zaphod moved forward to it, slowly, like a man possessed, or more accurately, like a man who wanted to possess. His hand reached out to stroke it. His hand stopped. His hand reached out to stroke it again. His hand stopped again. Come and feel this surface, he said in a hushed voice. Ford put his hand out to feel it. His hand stopped. You can't, he said. See, said Zaphod. It's just totally frictionless. This must be one mother of a mover. He turned to look at Ford seriously. At least one of his heads did. The other stayed gazing in awe at the ship. What do you reckon, Ford? He said. You mean, Ford looked over his shoulder. You mean stroll off with it? Do you think we should? No. Nor do I. But we're going to, aren't we? How can we not? They gazed a little longer, till Zaphod suddenly pulled himself together. We better shift soon, he said. In a moment or so, the universe will have ended, and all the Captain Creeps will be pouring down here to find their Borgmobiles. Zaphod, said Ford. Yeah? How do we do it? Simple, said Zaphod. He turned. Marvin, he called. Slowly, laboriously, and with a million little clanking and creaking noises that he had learned to simulate, Marvin turned round to answer the summons. Come on over here, said Zaphod. We've got a job for you. Marvin trudged toward them. I won't enjoy it, he said. Yes, you will, enthused Zaphod. There's a whole new life stretching out ahead of you. Oh, not another one, groaned Marvin. Will you shut up and listen, hissed Zaphod. This time, there's going to be excitement and adventure and really wild things. Sounds awful, Marvin said. Marvin, all I'm trying to ask you, I suppose you want me to open the starship for you. What, yeah. Yeah, that's right, said Zaphod jumpily. He was keeping at least 3 eyes on the entrance. Time was short. Well, I wish you'd just let me rather than try to engage with enthusiasm, said Marvin, because I haven't got one. He walked up to the ship, touched it, and the hatchway swung open. Ford and Zaphod stared at the opening. Don't mention it, said Marvin. Oh, you didn't. He trudged away again. Arthur and Trillian clustered around. What's happening? Asked Arthur. Oh, look at this, said Ford. Look at the interior of this ship. Weirder and weirder, breathed Zaphod. It's black, said Ford. Everything in it is just totally black. In the restaurant, things were fast approaching the moment, after which there wouldn't be any more moments. All eyes were fixed on the dome, other than those of Hot Black Desiato's bodyguard, which were looking intently at Hot Black Desiato, and those of Hot Black Desiato himself, which the bodyguard had closed out of respect. The bodyguard leaned forward over the table. Had Hot Black Desiato been alive, he probably would have deemed this a good moment to lean back or even go for a short walk. His bodyguard was not a man who improved with proximity. On account of his unfortunate condition, however, Hot Black Desiato remained totally inert. "Mr. Desiato, sir," whispered the bodyguard. Whenever he spoke, it looked as if the muscle on either side of his mouth were clamoring over each other to get out of the way. "Mr. Desiato, can you hear me?" Hot Black Desiato quite naturally said nothing. "Hot Black," hissed the bodyguard. Again, quite naturally, Hot Black Desiato did not reply. Supernaturally, however, he did. On the table in front of him, a wine glass rattled, and a fork rose an inch or so and tapped against the glass. It settled on the table again. The bodyguard gave a satisfied grunt. "It's time we were going, Mr. Desiato," muttered the bodyguard. "Don't want to get caught in the rush, not in your condition. You want to get to the next gig, nice and relaxed." There was a really big audience for it. One of the best. Kakrafoon, 576,002 million years ago. Had you, will have been looking forward to it. The fork rose again, paused, waggled in a non-committal sort of way, and dropped again. "Ah, come on," said the bodyguard. "It's going to have been great. You knocked him cold." The bodyguard would have been Dr. Dan Street Mincianer, an apoplectic attack. The black ship going into the sun always gets them, and the new one's a beauty. Be real sorry to see it go. If we get on down there, I'll see the black ship autopilot and cruise off in the limo, okay? The fork tapped once again in agreement, and the glass of wine mysteriously emptied itself. The bodyguard wheeled Hot Black Desiato's chair out of the restaurant. "And now," cried Max from the center of the stage, "the moment you've all been waiting for." He flung his arms into the air. Behind him, the band went into a frenzy of percussion and rolling synth-chords. Max had argued with them about this, but they had claimed it was in their contract that that's what they would do. His agent would have to sort it out. "Skies begin to boil," he cried. "Nature collapses into the screaming void. In 20 seconds' time, the universe itself will be at an end. See where the light of infinity burst in upon us." The hideous fury of destruction blazed about them, and at that moment a still small trumpeted sound, as from an infinite distance. Max's eyes swiveled round to glare at the band. None of them seemed to be playing a trumpet. Suddenly, a wisp of smoke was swirling and shimmering on the stage next to him. The trumpet was joined by more trumpets, over 500 times. Max had done this show, and nothing like this had ever happened before. He drew back an alarm from the swirling smoke, and as he did so, a figure slowly materialized inside. The figure of an ancient man, bearded, robed, and wreathed in light. In his eyes were stars, and on his brow a golden crown. "What's this?" whispered Max, wild-eyed. "What's happening?" At the back of the restaurant, the stony-faced party from the church of the second coming of the great prophet Zarquan leaped ecstatically to their feet, chanting and crying. Max blinked in amazement. He threw up his arms to the audience. "Big hand, please, ladies and gentlemen," he hollered, "for the great prophet Zarquan. He has come. Zarquan has come again." Thunderous applause broke out as Max strode across the stage and handed his microphone to the prophet. Zarquan coughed. He peered round the assembled gathering. The stars in his eyes twinkled uneasily. He handled the microphone with confusion. He said, "Hello, look, I'm sorry I'm a bit late. I've had the most ghastly time. All sorts of things cropping up at the last moment." He seemed nervous of the expected nod. "Hush." He cleared his throat. How are we for time?" he said. "Have I just got a minute?" And so the universe ended. Chapter 19. One of the major selling points of that wholly remarkable travel book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, apart from its relative cheapness and the fact that it has the words "Don't Panic" written in large, friendly letters on its cover, is its compendiums and occasionally accurate glossary. The statistics relating to the geosocial nature of the universe, for instance, are deftly set out between pages 938,324 and 938,326. And the simplistic style in which they are written is partly explained by the fact that the editors, having to meet a publishing deadline, copied the information off the back of a packet of breakfast cereal, hastily embroidered it with a few footnotes in order to avoid prosecution under the incomprehensible, torturous galactic copyright laws. It is interesting to note that a later and willier editor sent them backward in time through a temporal warp and then successfully sued the breakfast cereal company for infringement of the same laws. Here is a sample. The universe, some information to help you live in it. 1. Area, infinite. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy offers this definition of the word infinite. Infinite, bigger than the biggest thing ever, and then some. Much bigger than that, in fact, really amazingly immense, a totally stunning size. Real wow, that's big time. Infinity is just so big that by comparison, bigness itself looks really titchy. Gigantic multiplied by colossal multiplied by staggeringly huge is the sort of concept we're trying to get across here. 2. Imports. None. It is impossible to import things into an infinite area, there being no outside to import things in from. 3. Exports. None. See imports. 4. Population. None. It is known that there are an infinite number of worlds simply because there is an infinite amount of space for them to be in. However, not every one of them is inhabited. Therefore, there must be a finite number of inhabited worlds. Any finite number divided by infinity is as near to nothing as makes no odds. So the average population of all the planets in the universe can be said to be 0. From this, it follows that the population of the whole universe is also 0, and that any you may meet from time to time are merely the products of a deranged imagination. Monetary units. Number 5. None. In fact, there are 3 freely convertible currencies in the galaxy, but none of them count. The Alterian dollar has recently collapsed. The Flanian pobble bead is only exchangeable for other Flanian pobble beads. And the Triganic Poo has its own very special problems. This exchange rate is 8 Ningis to 1 Poo is simple enough, but since a Ningi is a triangle rubber coin, 6,800 miles along each side, no one has ever collected enough to own 1 Poo. Ningis are not negotiable currency because the galactic banks refuse to deal in fiddling small change. From this basic premise, it is very simple to prove that the galactic banks are also the product of a deranged imagination. Number 6. Art. None. The function of art is to hold the mirror up to nature, and there simply isn't a mirror big enough. See point 1. 7. Sex. None. Well, in fact, there is an awful lot of this, largely because of the total lack of money, trade banks, art, or anything else that might keep all the non-existent people of the universe occupied. However, it is not worth embarking on a long discussion of it now because it really is terribly complicated. For further information, see Guide Chapters 7, 9, 10, 11, 14, 16, 17, 19, 21 to 8, 4, inclusive, and in fact, most of the rest of the guide. Chapter 20. The restaurant continued existing, but everything else had stopped. Temporal relistatics held it to the protected, and protected it in a nothingness that wasn't merely a vacuum. It was simply nothing. There was nothing in which a vacuum could be said to exist. The force-shielded dome had once again been repaired. Opaque. The party was over. The diners were leaving. Zarquan had vanished along with the rest of the universe. The time turbines were preparing to pull the restaurant back across the brink of time, in readiness for the lunch sitting. And Max Cordlepine was back in his small, curtained dressing room trying to raise his agent on the telephone. Tempophone. In the parking lot stood the black ship, closed and silent. Into the parking lot came the late Mr. Hot Black Desiato, propelled along with a moving catwalk by his bodyguard. They descended one of the tubes. As they approached the limo ship, a hatchway swung open from its side, engaged the wheels of the wheelchair, and drew it inside. The bodyguard followed, and having seen his boss safely connected up to his death support system, moved up to the small cockpit. Here he operated the remote control system which activated the autopilot in the black ship lying next to the limo, thus causing great relief to Zaphod Beeblebrox, who had been trying to start the thing for over 10 minutes. The black ship glided smoothly forward out of its bay, turned, and moved down the central causeway swiftly and quietly. At the end, it accelerated rapidly, flung itself into the temporal launch chamber, and began the long journey back into the distant past. The Millway's lunch menu quotes, by permission, a passage from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The passage is this: the history of every major galactic civilization tends to pass through three distinct recognizable phases: those of survival, inquiry, and sophistication, otherwise known as the how, why, and where phases. For instance, the first phase is characterized by the question, how can we eat? The second by the question, why do we eat? And the third by the question, where shall we have lunch? The menu goes on to suggest that Millway's, the restaurant at the end of the universe, would be a very agreeable and sophisticated answer to that third question. What it doesn't go on to say is that, though it will usually take a large civilization many thousands of years to pass through the how, why, and where phases, small social groupings under stressful conditions can pass through them with extreme rapidity. How are we doing? Said Arthur Dent. Badly, said Fort Prefect. Where are we going? Said Trillian. I don't know, said Zaphod Beeblebrox. Why not? Demanded Arthur Dent. Shut up, suggested Zaphod Beeblebrox and Fort Prefect. Basically, what you're trying to say, said Arthur, ignoring this suggestion, is that we're out of control. The ship was rocking and swaying sickeningly as Ford and Zaphod tried to wrest control from the autopilot. The engines howled and whined like tired children in a supermarket. It's the wild color scheme that freaks me, said Zaphod, whose love of the ship had lasted almost 3 minutes into the flight. Every time you try to operate one of these weird black controls that are labeled in the black on a black background, a little black light lights up black to let you know you've done it. What is this? Some kind of galactic hyperhearse? The walls of the swing cabin were also black. The ceiling was black. The seats, which were rudimentary, since the only important trip the ship was designed for was supposed to be a nap, were black. The control panel was black. The instruments were black. The little screws that held them in place were black. The thin, tufted nylon floor covered with black, and when they had lifted up a corner of it, they had discovered that the foam underlay was also black. Perhaps whoever designed it had eyes that responded to different wavelengths, offered Trillian. Or didn't have much imagination, muttered Arthur. Perhaps, said Marvin. He was freely very depressed. In fact, though, they weren't to know it. The decor had been chosen in honor of its owner's sad, lamented, and tax-deductible condition. The ship gave a particularly sickening lurch. Take it easy, pleaded Arthur. You're making me space sick. Time sick, said Ford. We'll plummet backward through time. Thank you, said Arthur. Now I think I really am going to be ill. Go ahead, said Zaphod. We could do with a little color about the place. This is meant to be polite after dinner conversation, is it? Snapped Arthur. Zaphod left the controls to Ford to figure out, and lurched over to Arthur. Look, Earthman, he said angrily. You've got a job to do, right? The question to the ultimate answer, right? What, that thing? Said Arthur. I thought we'd forgotten about that. Not me, baby. Like the mice said, it's worth a lot of money in the right quarters, and it's all locked up in that head thing of yours. Yes, but nothing. Think about it. The meaning of life. We got our fingers on that. We can hold every shrink in the galaxy up to ransom, and that's worth a bundle I owe. Mine a mint. Arthur took a deep breath without much enthusiasm. All right, he said, but where do we start? How should I know? They say the ultimate answer or whatever is 42. How am I supposed to know what the question is? Could be anything. I mean, what's 6 times 7? Zaphod looked at him hard for a moment. Then his eyes blazed with excitement. 42, he cried. Arthur wiped his palm across his forehead. Yes, he said patiently, I know that. Zaphod's faces fell. I'm just saying the question could be anything at all, said Arthur. And I don't see how I'm meant to know. Because, hissed Zaphod, you were there when your planet did that big firework. We have a thing on Earth, began Arthur. Had, corrected Zaphod. Called tact. Oh, never mind. Look, I just don't know. A low voice echoed dully around the cabin. I know, said Marvin. Ford called out from the controls he was still fighting a losing battle with. Stay out of this, Marvin, he said. This is organism talk. It's printed in the Earthman's brainwave patterns, continued Marvin, but I don't suppose you'll be very interested in knowing that. You mean, said Arthur, you mean you can see into my mind? Yes, said Marvin. Arthur stared in astonishment. And, he said, it amazes me how you can manage to live in anything that small. Ah, said Arthur, abuse. Yes, confirmed Marvin. Ignore him, said Zaphod. He's only making it up. Making it up, said Marvin, swiveling his head in a parody of astonishment. Why should I want to make anything up? Life's bad enough as it is without wanting to invent any more of it. Marvin, said Trillian in a gentle, kindly voice that only she was still capable of assuming in talking to this misbegotten creature. If you knew all along, why then didn't you tell us? Marvin's head swiveled back to her. You didn't ask, he said simply. Well, we're asking you now, Metal Man, said Ford, turning around to look at him. At that moment, the ship suddenly stopped rocking and swaying. Engine pitch settled down to a gentle hum. Hey, Ford, said Zaphod. That sounds good. Have you worked out the controls on this boat? No, said Ford. I just stopped fiddling with them. I reckon we just go to wherever the ship is going and get off it fast. Yeah, right, said Zaphod. I could tell you weren't really interested, murmured Marvin to himself and slumped into a corner and switched himself off. Trouble is, said Ford, that the one instrument in this whole ship that is giving any reading is worrying me. If it is what I think it is, and if it's saying what I think it's saying, then we've already gone too far back into the past. Maybe as much as 2 million years before our own time. Zaphod shrugged. Time is bunk, he said. I wonder who this ship belongs to anyway, said Arthur. Me, said Zaphod. You know who it really belongs to? Really, me, insisted Zaphod. Look, property is theft, right? Therefore, theft is property. Therefore, this ship is mine, okay? Tell the ship that, said Arthur. Zaphod strode over to the console. Ship? He said, banging on the panels. This is your new owner speaking. He got no further. Several things happened at once. The ship dropped out of time travel mode and re-emerged into real space. All the controls on the console, which had been shut down for the time trip, now lit up. A large vision screen above the console winked into life, revealing a wide starscape and a single very large sun dead ahead of them. None of these things, however, were responsible for the fact that Zaphod was at the same moment hurled bodily backward against the rear of the cabin, as were all the others. They were hurled back by a single thunderous clap of noise that thudded out of the monitor speakers surrounding the vision screen. Excuse me. Chapter 21. Down on the dry red world of Hakrafin, in the middle of the vast rootlet desert, the stage technicians were testing the sound system. That is to say, the sound system was in the desert, not the technicians. They had retreated to safety of Disaster Area's giant control ship, which hung in orbit some 400 miles above the surface of the planet. And they were testing the sound from there.
Can I use some of this toy?
Sure.
It's like body glitters. It's like older.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Love you. Alright. Anyone within 5 miles of the speaker silos wouldn't have survived the tuning up. If Arthur Dent had been within 5 miles of the speaker silos, then his expiring thought would have been that in both size and shape the sound rig closely resembled Manhattan. Risen out of the silos, the neutron phase speaker stacks lowered monstrously against the sky, obscuring the banks of plutonium reactors and seismic amps behind them. Deep in the concrete bunkers beneath the city of speakers lay the instruments that the musicians would control from their ship. The massive photon adjutor, the bass detonator, and the megabang drum complex was going to be a noisy show. Aboard the giant control ship, all was activity and bustle. Hot Black Desiato's limo ship, a mere tadpole beside it, had arrived and docked, and the lamented gentleman was being transported down the high-vaulted corridors to meet the medium who was going to interpret his psychic impulses into the adjutor keyboard. A doctor, a logician, and a marine biologist had also just arrived, flown in at the phenomenal expense from Maximegalon, tried to reason with the lead singer who had locked himself in the bathroom with a bottle of pills and was refusing to come out till it could be proved conclusively to him that he wasn't a fish. The bass player was busy machine gunning his bedroom, and the drummer was nowhere on board. Frantic inquiries led to the discovery that he was standing on a beach in Centric Genus V, over 100 light years away, where, he claimed, he had been happy for over half an hour now and had found a small stone that would be his friend. The band's manager was profoundly relieved. It meant that for the 17th time on this tour, the drums would be played by a robot, and that therefore the timing of the symbolistics would be rigged. Sub-ether was buzzing with the communications of the stage technicians testing the speaker channels, and it was this that was being relayed to the interior of the black ship. The stage occupants lay against the back wall of the cabin and listened to the voices on the monitor speakers. "Okay, Channel 9 on power," said a voice. "Testing, Channel 15. Another thumping crack of noise walloped through the ship. "Channel 15, A-OK," said another voice. Third voice cut in. "The black stunt ship is now in position," it said. "It's looking good. Gonna be a great sun dive. Stage computer online." The computer voice answered. "Online," it said. "Take control of the black ship." Black ship locked into trajectory program on standby. Testing Channel 20. Zaphod leaped across the cabin and switched frequencies on the sub-ether receiver before the next mind-pulverizing noise hit them. He stood there quivering. "What?" said Trillian in a small, quiet voice. "Does sun dive mean?" "It means," said Marvin, "that the ship is going to dive into the sun." "Sun dive?" "It's very simple to understand. What do you expect if you steal Hot Black Desiato's stunt ship?" "How do you know," said Zaphod in a voice that would make a vegan snow lizard feel chill, "that this is Hot Black Desiato's stunt ship?" "Simple," said Marvin. "I parked it for him." "Then why didn't you tell us?" "You said you wanted excitement and adventure and really wild things." "This is awful," said Arthur unnecessarily, in the pause which followed. "That's what I said," confirmed Marvin. On a different frequency, the sub-ether receiver had picked up a public broadcast, which now echoed around the cabin. "Fine weather for a concert here this afternoon. I'm standing here in front of the stage," the reporter lied. "In the middle of the red-lit desert, and with an aid of hyperbinoptic glasses, I can just about make out the huge audience cowering there on the horizon all around me. Behind me, the speaker stacks rise like a sheer cliff face, and high above me, the sun is shining away and doesn't know what's going to hit it. The environmentalist lobby do know what's going to hit it. They claim that the concert will cause earthquakes, tidal waves, hurricanes, irreparable damage to the atmosphere, and all the usual things that environmentalists usually go on about. But I've just had a report that a representative of disaster area met with environmentalists at lunchtime and had them all shot, so nothing now lies in the way of..." Zaphod switched it off. He turned to Ford. "You know what I'm thinking?" he said. "I think so," said Ford. Tell me what you think I'm thinking. I think you're thinking it's time we get off the ship? I think you're right, said Zaphod. I think you're right, said Ford. How? Said Arthur. Quiet, said Ford and Zaphod. We're thinking. So this is it, said Arthur. We're going to die. I wish you'd stop saying that, said Ford. It is worth repeating at this point the theories that Ford had come up with on his first encounter with human beings to account for their peculiar habit of continually stating and restating the very, very obvious, as in, it's a nice day, or you're very tall, or so this is it, we're going to die. His first theory was that if human beings didn't keep exercising their lips, their mouths probably shriveled up. After a few moments of observation, he had come up with a second theory, which was this. If human beings don't keep exercising their lips, their brains start working. In fact, the second theory is more literally true of the Belcerabon people of Kakrafun. The Belcerabon people used to cause great resentment and insecurity among neighboring races by being one of the most enlightened, accomplished, and, above all, quiet civilizations in the galaxy. As a punishment for this behavior, which was held to be offensively self-righteous and provocative, a galactic tribunal inflicted on them that most cruel of all social diseases, telepathy. Consequently, in order to prevent themselves broadcasting every slightest thought that crosses their minds to anyone within a 5-mile radius, they now have to talk very loudly and continuously about the weather, their little aches and pains, the match this afternoon, and what a noisy place Kakrafun has suddenly become. Another method of temporarily blotting out their minds is to play host to a disaster area concert. The timing of the concert was critical. The ship had to begin its dive before the concert began in order to hit the sun 6 minutes and 76 seconds before the climax of the song, to which it related, so that the light of the solar flares had time to travel out of Kakrafun. The ship had already been diving for several minutes by the time that Ford Prefect had completed his search of the other compartments of the black ship. He burst back into the cabin. The sun of Kakrafun loomed terrifyingly large on the vision screen, its blazing white inferno of fusing hydrogen nuclei, growing moment by moment as the ship plunged onward, unheeding the thumping and banging of Zaphod's hands on the control panel. Arthur and Trillian had the fixed expressions of rabbits on a night road who think that the best way of dealing with approaching headlights is to stare them out. Zaphod spun around wild-eyed. Ford, he said. How many escape capsules are there? None, said Ford. Zaphod gibbered. Did you count them? He yelled. Twice, said Ford. Did you manage to raise the stage crew on the radio? Yeah, said Zaphod bitterly. I said there were a whole bunch of people on board, and they said, say hi to everybody. Ford goggled. Didn't you tell them who you were? Oh yeah, they said it was a great honor. That and something about restaurant bill and my executors. Ford pushed Arthur aside roughly and leaned forward over the control console. Does none of this function? He said savagely. All written. Smash the autopilot. Find it first, nothing connects. There was a moment of cold silence. Arthur was stumbling around the back of the cabin. He stopped suddenly. Incidentally, he said, what does teleport mean? Another moment passed. Slowly, the others turned to face him. Probably the wrong moment to ask, said Arthur. It's just, I remember hearing you use a word a short while ago and only bring it up because... Where, said Ford, Prefect, quietly, does it say teleport? Well, just over here, in fact, said Arthur, pointing at a dark control box in the rear of the cabin, just under the word emergency, above the word system, and beside the sign saying out of order. And the pandemonium that instantly followed, the only action to follow was that of Ford Prefect lunging across the cabin to the small black box that Arthur had indicated and stabbing repeatedly at the single black button set into it. The 6-foot square panel slid open beside it, revealing a compartment which resembled a multiple shower unit that had found a new function in life as an electrician's junk store. Half-finished wiring hung from the ceiling, a jumble of abandoned components lay strewn on the floor, and the programming panel lolled out of the cavity in the wall into which it should have been obscured. A junior disaster area accountant visiting the shipyard where this ship is being constructed had demanded to know of the works foreman why the hell they were fitting an extremely expensive teleport into a ship which only had one important journey to make, and that unmanned. The foreman had explained that the teleport was available at a 10% discount, and the accountant had explained that this was immaterial. The foreman had explained that it was the finest, powerful, and sophisticated teleport that money could buy, and the accountant had explained that the money did not wish to buy it. The foreman had explained that the people would still need to enter and leave the ship, and the accountant had explained that the ship sported a perfectly serviceable door. The foreman had explained that the accountant could go and boil his head, and the accountant had explained to the foreman that the thing approaching him rapidly from his left was a knuckle sandwich. After the explanations had been concluded, work was discontinued on the teleport, which subsequently passed unnoticed on the invoice as Sun expense at 5 times the price. "Hell's donkeys," muttered Zaphod, as he and Ford attempted to sort through the tangle of wiring. After a moment or so, Ford told him to stand back. He tossed a coin into the teleport and jiggled a switch on the lolling control panel. With a crackle and spit of light, the coin vanished. "That much of it works," said Ford. "However, there's no guidance system. A matter of transference, teleport, and no guidance programming could put you, well, anywhere." The son of Kakrafoon loomed huge on the screen. "Who cares?" said Zaphod. "We go where we go." "And," said Ford, "there is no auto system. We couldn't all go. Someone would have to stay and operate it." A solemn moment shuffled past. The sun loomed larger and larger. "Hey, Marvin, kid," said Zaphod. "How you doing?" "Very badly, I suspect," muttered Marvin. A shortish while later, the concert on Kakrafoon reached an unexpected climax. The black ship, with its single morose occupant, had plunged on schedule into the nuclear furnace of the sun. Massive solar flares licked out from it millions of miles into space, thrilling and in a few cases spilling the dozen or so flare riders, who had been coasting close to the surface of the sun in anticipation of the moment. Moments before the flare light reached Kakrafoon, the pounding desert cracked along a deep fault line. A huge and hitherto undetected undergoing river lying far beneath the surface gushed to the surface, to be followed seconds later by the eruption of millions of tons of boiling lava that flowed hundreds of feet into the air, instantaneously vaporizing the river both above and below the surface in an explosion that echoed to the far side of the world and back again. Those very few who witnessed the event and survived swear that the whole 100,000 square miles of the desert rose into the air like a mile-thick pancake, flipped itself over and fell back down. At that precise moment, the solar radiation from the flares filtered through the clouds of vaporized water and struck the ground. A year later, the 100,000 square mile desert was thick with flowers. The structure of the atmosphere around the planet was subtly altered. The sun blazed less harshly in the summer. The cold bit less bitterly in the winter. Pleasant rain fell more often and slowly. The desert world of Kakrafoon became a paradise. Even the telepathic power of which the people of Kakrafoon had been cursed with was permanently dispersed by the force of the explosion. A spokesman for a disaster area, the one who had had all the environmentalists shot, was later quoted as saying that it had been a good gig. Many people spoke movingly of the healing powers of music. A few skeptical scientists examined the records of the events more closely and claimed that they had discovered faint vestiges of vast artificially induced improbability field drifting in from a nearby region of space. Alright, so on that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our first music break. On this break, we have Miss Mia Savage with her group Antidote for Savages. And by group, I mean just her. She's like a little tiny Trent Reznor. She's so cute. So she's going to be singing Lemurian Crypto, Let Me Be Your Home, and Our New Reality, as well as Your Skeleton. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Not if you know. ship that he brings anymore. You're mine. You're mine. Tonight. You're mine.
Sorry guys, Century Stink is at it again. Jeez, oh Pete. My speaker's buffering. I cannot stand. Cannot stand CenturyLink. Sorry about that. Damn it all. Damn it all to Hades. Alright, well let's get back into our book, shall we? So this is Douglas Adams, the restaurant at the end of the universe. Has been pretty badass. I'm thinking perhaps they escaped being thrown into the sun. Otherwise, what are we going to be reading about? Chapter 22. Arthur woke up and instantly regretted it. Hangovers he'd had, but never anything on this scale. This was it. This was the big one. This was the ultimate pits. Matter transference beams, he decided, were not as much fun as, say, a good solid kick in the head. Being from the moment unwilling to move on. Oh, hold on one second. I'm glad I came over here. I forgot to turn my sound on for Spreaker. Good to go. And this book is falling apart on me. Being, for the moment, unwilling to move on account of a dull stomping throb he was experiencing, he lay a while in thought. The trouble with most forms of transport, he thought, is basically that not one of them is worth all the bother. On Earth, when there had been on Earth, before it was demolished to make way for the new hyperspace bypass, the problem had been with cars. The disadvantages involved in pulling lots of black sticky slime from out of the ground, where it had been safely hidden out of harm's way, turning it into tar to cover the land with, smoke to fill the air with, and pouring the rest into the sea. All seemed to outweigh the advantages of being able to get more quickly from one place to another, particularly when the place you arrived at had probably become, as a result of this, very similar to the place that you had left, i.e. covered with tar, full of smoke, and short of fish. And what about matter transference beams? Any form of transport which involved tearing you apart atom by atom, flinging those atoms through the sub-ether, and then jamming them back together again just when they were getting their first taste of freedom for years, had to be bad news. Many people had thought exactly this before Arthur did, and had even gone to the lengths of writing songs about it. Here is one that used regularly to be chanted by huge crowds outside of Sirius Cybernetics Corporation Teleport Systems factory on Happy World 3. Aldebaran's great, okay? Algal's pretty neat. Beetlejuice's pretty girls will knock you off your feet. They'll do anything you like, real fast and then real slow. But if you have to take me apart to get me there, then I don't want to go. Singing, take me apart, what a way to roam. And if you have to take me apart to get there, I'd rather stay at home. Sirius is paved with gold, so I've heard it said. By nuts who then go on to say, see Tau before you're dead. I'll gladly take the high road, or even take the low. But if you have to take me apart to get there, then I, for one, won't go. Singing, take me apart, you must be off your head. And if you try to take me apart to get me there, I'll stay right here in bed. And so on. Another favorite song was much shorter. I teleported home one night with Ron and Sid and Meg. Ron stole Maggie's heart away, and I got Sydney's leg. Arthur felt the waves of pain slowly receding, though he was still aware of a dull stomping throb. Slowly, carefully, he stood up. Can you hear a dull stomping throb? Said Ford Prefect. Arthur spun around and wobbled uncertainly. Ford Prefect was approaching, looking red-eyed and pasty. Where are we? Gasped Arthur. Ford looked around. They were standing in a long curving corridor which stretched out of sight in both directions. The outer steel wall, which was painted in that sickly shade of pale green, which they use in schools, hospitals, and mental asylums to keep the inmates subdued, curved over the tops of their heads to where it met the inner, perpendicular wall which, oddly enough, was covered in dark brown Hessian wall weave. The floor was of dark green ribbed rubber. Ford moved over to the very thick, dark, transparent panel set in on the outer wall. It was several layers deep, yet through it he could see pinpoints of distant stars. I think we're in a spaceship of some kind, he said. Down the corridor came the sound of a dull stomping throb. Trillion? Called Arthur nervously. Zaffa? Ford shrugged. Nowhere about, he said. I've looked. They could be anywhere. An unprogrammed teleport can throw you light years in any direction. Judging by the way I feel, I should think we've traveled a very long way indeed. How do you feel? Bad. Do you think they're where they are? How they are? There's no way we can know, and no way we can do anything about it. Do what I do. What? Don't think about it. Arthur turned this thought over in his mind, reluctantly saw the wisdom of it, tucked it up, and put it away. He took a deep breath. Footsteps, exclaimed Ford suddenly. Where? That noise, that stomping throb, pounding feet. Listen. Arthur listened. The noise echoed round the corridor at them from an indeterminate distance. There was the muffled sound of pounding feet, and it was noticeably louder. Let's move, said Ford sharply. They both moved in opposite directions. Not that way, said Ford. That's where they're coming from. No, it's not, said Arthur. They're coming from that way. They're not there. They both stopped. They both turned. They both listened intently. They both agreed with each other, and they both set off in opposite directions again. Fear gripped them. From both directions, the noise was getting louder. A few yards to their left, another corridor ran at right angles to the inner wall. They ran to it and hurried along it. It was dark, immensely long, and as they passed down it, gave them the impression that it was getting colder and colder. Other corridors gave off it to the left and the right, each very dark and each subjecting them to sharp blasts of icy air as they passed. They stopped for a moment in alarm. The further down the corridor they went, the louder became the sound of pounding feet. They pressed themselves back against the cold wall and listened furiously. How do you listen furiously? I don't know. The cold, the dark, and the drumming of the disembodied feet was getting to them badly. Ford shivered, partly with the cold, but partly with the memory of stories his favorite mother used to tell him, when he was a mere slip of a Betelgeusian ankle-high to an Arcturian mega grasshopper, stories of death ships, haunted hulks that roamed restlessly around the obscure regions of deep space infested with demons or ghosts or forgotten crews. Stories, too, of incautious travelers who found and entered such ships. Stories of... Then Ford remembered the brown Hessian wall weave in the first corridor and pulled himself together. However, ghosts and demons may choose to decorate their death hulks, he thought to himself. He would lay any money you like it wasn't with Hessian wall weave. He grasped Arthur by the arm. Back the way we came, he said firmly, and they started to retrace their steps. A moment later, they leaped like startled lizards down the nearest corridor junction as the owners of the drumming feet suddenly hove into view directly in front of them. Hidden behind the corner, they goggled in amazement as about 24 overweight men and women pounded past them in tracksuits, panting and weaving and wheezing in a manner that would make a heart surgeon gibber. Ford Prefect stared after them. Joggers? He hissed as the sound of their feet echoed away and up and down the network of corridors. Joggers? Whispered Arthur Dent. Joggers, said Ford Prefect with a shrug. The corridor they were concealed in was not like the others. It was very short and ended at a large steel door. Ford examined it, discovered the opening mechanism, and pushed it wide. The first thing that hit their eyes was what appeared to be a coffin. And the next 4,999 things that hit their eyes were also coffins. Well, that sounds bleak. Chapter 23. The vault was low-ceilinged, dimly lit, and gigantic. At the far end, about 300 yards away, an archway led through to what appeared to be a similar chamber, similarly occupied. Ford Prefect let out a low whistle as he stepped down onto the floor of the vault. Wild, he said. What's so great about dead people? Asked Arthur, nervously stepping down after him. Dunno, said Ford. Let's find out, shall we? On closer inspection, the coffin seemed to be more like a sarcophagi. They stood about waist high and were constructed of what appeared to be white marble, which is almost certainly what it was. Something that only appeared to be white marble. The tops were semi-translucent, and through them could dimly be perceived the features of their late and presumably lamented occupants. They were humanoid and had clearly left the troubles of whatever world it was came from far behind them. But beyond that, little else could be discerned. Rolling slowly down the floor between the sarcophagi was a heavy, oily white gas, which Arthur first thought might be there to give the place a little atmosphere until he discovered that it also froze his ankles. The sarcophagi, too, were intensely cold to the touch. Ford suddenly crouched down beside one of them. He pulled a corner of his towel out of his satchel and started to rub it furiously at something. "Look, there's a plaque on this one," he explained to Arthur. "It's frosted over." He rubbed the frost clear and examined the engraved characters. To Arthur, they looked like the footprints of a spider, and had had one too many of whatever it was that spiders have on a night out. But Ford instantly recognized an early form of galactic Eazard. Eazard? That says, Golga Frincham, Arc Fleet, Ship B, Hold 7, Telephone Sanitizer, 2nd Class, and a serial number. "A telephone sanitizer?" said Arthur. "A dead telephone sanitizer? Best kind. But what's he doing here?" Ford peered through the top at the figure within. "Not a lot," he said, and suddenly flashed one of those grins of his which always made people think he'd been overdoing things recently and should try to get some rest. He scampered over to another sarcophagus, a moment's brisk towel work, and he announced, "This one's a dead hairdresser. Please." The next sarcophagus revealed itself to be the last resting place of an advertising account executive, the one that contained a second-hand car salesman 3rd class. An inspection hatch led into the door, where the floor suddenly caught Ford's attention, and he squatted down to unfasten it, thrashing away at the clouds of freezing gas that threatened to envelop him. A thought occurred to Arthur. If these are just coffins, he said, why are they kept so cold? Or indeed, why are they kept anyway? Said Ford, tugging the hatchway open. The gas poured down through it. Why, in fact, is anyone going to all the trouble and expense of carting 5,000 dead bodies through space? 10,000, said Arthur, pointing at the archway through which the next chamber was dimly visible. Ford stuck his head down through the floor hatchway. He looked up again. 15,000, he said. There's another lot down there. 15 million, said a voice. That's a lot, said Ford. A lot. Turn around slowly, barked the voice, and put your hands up. Any other move, and I blast you into tiny, tiny bits. Hello? Said Ford, turning around slowly, putting his hands up, and not making any other move. Why, said Arthur Dent, isn't anyone ever pleased to see us? Standing silhouetted in the doorway through which they had entered the vault was the man who wasn't pleased to see them. His displeasure was communicated partly by the barking, hectoring quality of his voice and partly by the viciousness with which he waved a long silver Zillozap gun at them. The designer of the gun had clearly not been instructed to beat about the bush. Make it able, he'd been told. Make it totally clear that this gun has a right end and a wrong end. Make it totally clear that anyone standing at the wrong end, that things are going badly for them. If that means sticking all sort of spikes and prongs and blackened bits all over it, then so be it. This is not a gun for hanging over the fireplace or sticking in the umbrella stand. It is a gun for going out and making people miserable with. Ford and Arthur looked at the gun unhappily. The man with the gun moved through the door and circled around them. As he came into the light, they could see his black and gold uniform, in which the buttons were so highly polished that they shone with an intensity that would have made an approaching motorist flash his lights in annoyance. He gestured at the door. Out, he said. People who can supply that amount of firepower don't need a supply of verbs as well. Ford and Arthur Dent went out, closely followed by the wrong end of the Zillozap gun and the buttons. Turning into the corridor, they were jostled by 24 oncoming joggers, who showered and changed, who swept on past them into the vault. Arthur turned to watch them in confusion. Move! Screamed their captor. Arthur moved. Ford shrugged and moved. In the vault, the joggers went to 24 empty sarcophagi along the sidewall, opened them, climbed in, and fell into 24 dreamless sleeps. Chapter 24. Captain? Yes, number 1. Just had a sort of a report thingy from number 2. Oh dear. High up in the bridge of the ship, the captain stared out into the infinite reaches of space, with mild irritation. From where he reclined beneath a wide domed bubble, he could see before and above him the vast panorama of stars through which they were moving. A panorama that had thinned out noticeably during the course of the voyage. Turning and looking backward over the vast 2-mile bulk of the ship, he could see the far denser mass of stars behind them, which seemed to form almost a solid band. This was the view through the galactic center from which they were traveling, and indeed had been traveling for years at a speed that he couldn't quite remember at the moment. But he knew it was terribly fast. There was something approaching the speed of something or other, or was it 3 times the speed of something else? Jolly impressive anyway. He peered into the bright distance behind the ship, looking for something. He did this every few minutes or so, but never found what he was looking for. He didn't let it worry him, though. The scientist chaps had been very insistent that everything was going to be perfectly all right, providing nobody panicked and everybody got on and did their bit in an orderly fashion. He was panicking. As far as he was concerned, everything was going splendidly. He dabbed at his shoulder with a large frothy sponge. It crept back into his mind that he was feeling mildly irritated about something. Now what was all that about? A slight cough alerted him to the fact that the ship's first officer was still standing nearby. Nice chap, number 1. Not the very brightest, had the odd spot of difficulty tying his shoelaces, but jolly good officer material for all that. Captain wasn't a man to kick a chap when he was bending over trying to do up his shoelaces, however long that it took him. Not like that ghastly number 2, strutting all over the place, polishing his buttons, issuing reports every hour. Ship still moving, Captain. Still on course, Captain. Oxygen levels still being maintained, Captain. Give it a miss. Was the captain's vote. Ah, yes, that was the thing that had been irritating him. He peered down at number 1. Yes, Captain. He was shouting something or another, having found some prisoners. Captain thought about this. Seemed pretty unlikely to him, but he wasn't one to stand in his officer's way. Well, perhaps that'll keep him happy for a bit, he said. He's always wanted some. Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent trudged onward, up the ship's apparently endless corridors. Number 2 marched behind them. Excuse me. Barking the occasional order about not making any false moves or trying any funny stuff. They seemed to have passed at least a mile of continuous brown Haitian wool weave. Finally, they reached a large steel door which slid open when number 2 shouted at it. They entered. To the eyes of Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent, the most remarkable thing about the ship's bridge was not the 50-foot diameter hemispherical dome which covered it. Man, I think my hair is tickling my leg. It's not a spider. And through which the dazzling display of stars shone down on them. To people who have eaten at the restaurant at the end of the universe, such wonders are commonplace. Nor was it the bewildering array of instruments. Holy shnikes. Sorry, guys. I gotta mute this conversation. No! Yes. Yes. Okay. That should keep us going. Alright. To the eyes of Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent, the most remarkable thing we just read was not the 50-foot diameter hemispherical dome which covered it, and through which the dazzling display of stars shone down on them. To people who have eaten at the restaurant at the end of the universe, such wonders are commonplace. Nor was it the bewildering array of instruments that crowded the long circumferential wall around them. To Arthur, this was exactly what spaceships were traditionally supposed to look like, and to Ford, it looked thoroughly antiquated. That confirms his suspicions that Disaster Area's stunt ship had taken them back at least 1 million, if not 2 million years before their own time. No, the thing that really caught them off balance was the bathtub. The bathtub stood on a 6-foot pedestal of rough-hewn blue water crystal and was of a Baroque monstrosity not often seen outside the Maxi-Megalon Museum of Diseased Imaginings. An intestinal jumble of plumbing had been picked out in gold leaf rather than decently buried at midnight in an unmarked grave. The taps and shower attachment would have made a gargoyle jump. As the dominant centerpiece of the Starship Bridge, it was terribly wrong, and it was the embittered error of a man who knew this that number 2 approached it. "Captain, sir," he shouted through the clenched teeth. A difficult trick, but he'd had years during which to perfect it. A large, genial face and genial foam-covered arm popped up above the rim of the monstrous bath. "Ah, hello, number 2, said the captain, waving a cheery sponge. "Having a nice day?" Number 2 snapped even farther to attention than he already was. "I have brought you the prisoners I located in Freezer Bay 7, sir," he yapped. Ford and Arthur coughed in confusion. Hello?" they said. The captain beamed at them. So number 2 had really found some prisoners. Well, good for him, thought the captain. Nice to see a chap doing what he's best at. "Oh, hello there," he said to them. "Excuse me not getting up, just having a quick bath. Well, gin tonics all now and then. Look in the fridge, number 1. "Certainly, sir." It is a curious fact that, and one to which no one knows quite how much importance to attach, that something like 85% of all known worlds in the galaxy, be they primitive or highly advanced, have invented a drink called gin and tonics, or gint nix, or ginnond onyx, or any one of 1,000 or more variations on the same phonetic thing. The drinks themselves are not the same, and vary between the Sevolvian Ginato Nings, which is ordinary water served at slightly above room temperature, and the Gargard Kraken, Tin Anthony Keats, which kills cows at 100 paces, and in fact, the one common factor between all of them, beyond that fact that the names sound the same, is that they were all invented and named before the worlds concerned made contact with any other worlds. What can be made of this fact? It exists in total isolation. As far as any theory of structural linguistics is concerned, it is right off the graph, and yet it persists. Old structural linguists get very angry when young structural linguists go on about it. Young structural linguists get deeply excited about it and stay up late at night, convinced that they are very close to something of profound importance, and end up becoming old structural linguists before their time. Where the heck? Getting very angry with the young ones. Structural linguistics is a bitterly divided and unhappy discipline, and a large number of its practitioners spend too many nights drowning their problems in Oskian Zodas. Number 2 stood before the captain's bathtub, trembling with frustration. "Don't you want to interrogate the prisoners, sir?" he squealed. The captain peered at him in bemusement. "Why on a Golga Frencham should I want to do that?" he asked. "To get information out of them, sir. To find out why they came here." "Oh, no, said the captain. "I expect they just dropped in for a quick gin and tonics, don't you?" "But, sir, they're my prisoners. I must interrogate them." The captain looked at them doubtfully. "Oh, all right," he said. "If you must, ask them what they want to drink." A hard, cold gleam came into number 2's eyes. He advanced slowly on Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent. "All right, you scum," he growled. "You vermin." He jabbed Ford with a zillo-zap gun. "Steady on, number 2, admonished the captain gently. "What do you want to drink?" number 2 screamed. "Well, the gin and tonic sounds very nice to me," said Ford. "What about you, Arthur?" Arthur blinked. What? Oh, yes, he said. With ice or without? Bellowed number 2. Oh, with, please, said Ford. Lemon? Yes, please, said Ford. And do you have any other of those little biscuits, you know, the cheesy ones? I'm asking the questions, held number 2, his body quaking with apoplectic fury. Number 2, said the captain softly. Sir? Shove off, would you? There's a good chap. I'm trying to have a relaxing bath. Number 2's eyes narrowed and became what are known in the shouting and killing people trade as cold slits. The idea presumably being to give your opponent the impression that you have lost your glasses or are having difficulty keeping awake. Why this is frightening is an as yet unresolved problem. He advanced on the captain, his number 2's mouth a thin hard line. Again, tricky to know why this is understood as fighting behavior. If while wandering through the jungle of a trawl, you were suddenly to come upon a fabled, ravenous, bug-bladder beast, you would have reason to be grateful if its mouth was a thin, hard line rather than, as it usually is, a gaping mass of slavering fangs. May I remind you, sir, hissed number 2 at the captain, that you have now been in the bath for over 3 years. This final shot delivered, number 2 spun on his heel and stalked off to the corner to practice darting eye movements in the mirror. The captain squirmed in his bath. He gave Ford Prefect a lame smile. Well, you need to relax a lot in a job like mine, he said. Ford slowly lowered his hands. It provoked no reaction. Arthur lowered his. Treading very slowly and carefully, Ford moved over to the bath pedestal. He patted it. Nice, he lied. He wondered if it was safe to grin. Very slowly and carefully he grinned. It was safe. Said to the captain. Yes, said the captain. I wonder, said Ford. Can I ask you actually what your job is, in fact? The man tapped him on the shoulder. He spun around. It was the first officer. Your drinks, he said. Ah, thank you, said Ford. He and Arthur took their gin and tonics. Arthur sipped his and was surprised to discover it tasted like a whiskey and soda. I mean, I couldn't help noticing, said Ford, also taking a sip, the bodies in the hold. Bodies? Said the captain in surprise. Ford paused and thought to himself, never take anything for granted, he thought. Could it be that the captain doesn't know he's got 15 million dead bodies on his ship? The captain was nodding cheerfully at him. He also appeared to be playing with a rubber duck. Ford looked around. Number 2 was staring at him in the mirror, but only for an instant. His eyes were constantly on the move. The first officer was just standing there holding the drinks tray and smiling benignly. Bodies? Said the captain again. Ford licked his lips. Yes, he said, all those dead telephone sanitizers and account executives, you know, down in the hold. Captain stared at him. Suddenly he threw back his head and laughed. Oh, they're not dead, he said. Good Lord, no. No, they're frozen. They're going to be revived. Ford did something he rarely did. He blinked. Arthur seemed to come out of a trance. You mean you've got a hold full of frozen hairdressers, he said. Oh, yes, said the captain. Millions of them. Hairdressers, tired TV producers, insurance salesmen, personal officers, security guards, public relations executives, management consultants, you name it. We're going to colonize another planet. Ford wobbled very slightly. Exciting, isn't it? Said the captain. What, with that lot? Said Arthur. Ah, now don't misunderstand me, said the captain. We're just one of the ships of the Ark fleet. We're the B Ark, you see. Sorry, could I just ask you to run a bit more hot water for me? Arthur obliged, and a cascade of pink frothy water swirled around the bath. Captain let out a sigh of pleasure. Thank you so much, my dear fellow. Do you yourselves? 2 more drinks, of course. Ford tossed down his drink, took the bottle from the first officer's tray, and refilled his glass to the top. What, he said, is a B Ark? This is, said the captain, and swished the foamy water around joyfully with the duck. Yes, said Ford, but what happened, you see, said the captain. Our planet, the world from which we have come, was, so to speak, doomed. Doomed? Oh, yes. So, what everyone thought was, let's pack the whole population into some giant spaceships and go and settle on another planet. Having told this much of his story, he settled back with a satisfied grunt. You mean a less doomed one? Prompted Arthur. What did you say, dear fellow? A less doomed planet you were going to settle on? Are going to settle on, yes. So it was decided to build 3 ships, you see. 3 arcs in space, and I'm not boring you, am I? No, said Ford firmly. It's fascinating. You know, it's delightful, reflected the captain, to have someone else to talk to for a change. Number 2's eyes darted feverishly about the room again, and then settled back on the mirror like a pair of flies briefly distracted from their favorite piece of menthol meat. Trouble with a long journey like this, continued the captain, is that you end up just talking to yourself a lot, which gets terribly boring because half the time you know what you're going to say next. Only half the time? Asked Arthur in surprise. The captain thought for a moment. Yes, about half, I'd say. Anyway, where's the soap? He fished around and found it. Yes, so anyway, he resumed, the idea was that into the first ship, the A ship, would go all the brilliant leaders, the scientists, the great artists, you know, all the achievers, and then into the third or C ship would go all the people who did the actual work, who made things and did things, and then into the B ship, that's us, would go everyone else, the middlemen, you see. He smiled happily at them. And we were sent off first, he concluded, and hummed a little bathing tune. The little bathing tune which he had composed by one of his world's most exciting and prolific jingle writers, who is currently asleep in the hold 36, some 900 yards behind them, covered what would otherwise have been an awkward moment of silence. Ford and Arthur shuffled their feet and furiously avoided each other's eyes. Said Arthur after a moment. What exactly was it that was wrong with your planet then? No, it was doomed, I mean, as I said the captain. Apparently it was going to crash into the sun or something, or maybe it was that the moon was going to crash into us, something of that kind. Absolutely terrifying prospect, whatever it was. Oh, said the first officer suddenly. I thought it was that the planet was going to be invaded by a gigantic swarm of 12-foot piranha bees. Wasn't that it? Number 2 spun around, eyes ablaze with the cold, hard light that only comes with the amount of practice he was prepared to put in. It's not what I was told, he hissed. My commanding officer told me that the entire planet was in imminent danger of being eaten by an enormous mutant stargoat. Oh, really? Said Fort Prefect. Yes, a monstrous creature from the pit of hell with scything teeth 10,000 miles long. Breath that would boil oceans, claw that would tear continents from their roots, 1,000 eyes that burned like the sun, slavering jaws 1,000,000 miles across, a monster such as you have never, ever. And they made sure that they sent you lot off first, did they? Inquired Arthur. Oh yes, said the captain. Well, everyone said very nicely. I thought that it was very important for morale to feel that they would be arriving on a planet where they could be sure of a good haircut and where the phones were clean. Oh yes, agreed Ford, I can see that. That would be very important. And the other ships, they followed on after you, did they? For a moment the captain did not answer. He twisted round in his bath and gazed backward over the huge bulk of the ship toward the bright galactic center. He squinted into the inconceivable distance. Ah, well, it's funny you should say that, he said, and allowed himself a slight frown at Ford Prefect, because curiously enough we haven't heard a beep out of them since we have left 5 years ago, but they must be behind us somewhere. He peered off into the distance again. Ford peered with him and gave a thoughtful frown. Unless, of course, he said softly, they were eaten by the goat? Ah, yes, said the captain with a slight hesitancy creeping into his voice. The goat. His eyes passed over the solid ship and the shapes of the instruments and the computers that lined the bridge. They winked away innocently at him. He stared out at the stars, but none of them said a word. He glanced at his first and second officers, but they seemed lost in their own thoughts for a moment. He glanced at Fort Prefect, who raised his eyebrows at him. It's a funny thing, you know, said the captain at last, but now that I actually come to tell the story, so someone else, does it strike you as odd, number 1? Said number 1. Well, said Ford, I can see that you've got a lot of things you're going to want to talk about, so thanks for the drinks, and if you could sort of drop us off at the nearest convenient planet? Ah, well, that's a little difficult, you see, said the captain, because our trajectory thingy was preset before we left Golga Frincham. I think partly because I'm not very good with figures. You mean we're stuck here on the ship? Exclaimed Ford, suddenly losing patience with the whole charade. When are you meant to be reaching this planet you're meant to be colonizing? Oh, we're nearly there, I think, said the captain. Any second now, it's probably time. I was getting out of this bath, in fact. Oh, I don't know, though. Why stop just when I'm enjoying it? So we're actually going to land in a minute, said Arthur. Well, not so much land. In fact, not actually land, so no. What are you talking about? Asked Ford sharply. Well, said the captain, picking his way through the words carefully. I think as far as I can remember, we were programmed to crash on it. Crash? Shouted Ford and Arthur. Yes, said the captain. Yes, it's all a part of the plan, I think. There was a terribly good reason for it, which I can't quite remember at the moment. It was something to do with, Ford exploded. You're a load of useless, bloody loonies, he shouted. Oh, yes, that's what it was, being the captain. That was the reason. Good Lord. Oh no, I think that captain is a little daft. Okay, we'll read this chapter because it's pretty short, and then we'll get on to our second music break and then our creepy video we're going to watch. Chapter 25, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, has this to say about the planet of Golden Frincham. It is a planet with an ancient and mysterious history, rich in legend, red and occasionally green, with the blood of those who saw it in times gone by the conqueror. A land of parched and barren landscapes, of sweet and sultry air heady with the scent of perfumed sprigs that trickle over its hot and dusty rocks and nourish the dark and musky lichens beneath. A land of fevered brows and intoxicated imaginings, particularly among those who taste the lichens. A land also of cool and shaded thoughts among those who have leaned to forswear the lichens and find a tree to sit beneath. A land also of still and blood and heroism, a land of the body and one of the spirit. This was its history. And in all this ancient and mysterious history, the most mysterious figures of all were, without doubt, those of the great circling poets of Ariel. These circling poets used to live in remote mountain passes, where they would lie in wait for small bands of unwary travelers, circle around them, and throw rocks at them. And when the travelers cried out, saying, "Why didn't they go away and get on with writing some poems instead of pestering people with all this rock-throwing business?" they would suddenly stop and then break into one of the 794 great song cycles of Massilian. These songs were all of extraordinary beauty and even more extraordinary length, and all fell into exactly the same pattern. The first part of each song would tell how there once went forth from the city of Massilian a party of 5 sage princes with 4 horses. The princes, who are of course brave, noble, and wise, travel widely in distant lands, fight giant ogres, pursue exotic philosophies, take tea with weird gods, and rescue beautiful monsters from ravening princesses, before finally announcing that they have achieved enlightenment and that their wanderings are therefore accomplished. The second and much longer part of each song would then tell of all their bickerings about which one of them is going to have to walk back. All this lay in the planet's remote past. It was, however, a descendant of one of these eccentric poets who invented the spurious tales of impending doom, which enabled the people of Golga Frincham to rid themselves of an entire useless third of their population. The other 2/3 stayed firmly at home and lived full, rich, and happy lives until they were all suddenly wiped out by a virulent disease contracted from a dirty telephone. Oh, you dirty telephone. They should have kept the telephone cleaners, I guess. So, on that note, we're going to go to our second music break with, once again, Miss Mia Savage. Antidote for Savages. If you want to check her out, I do believe she's on Instagram. So you can check her out there, and I'm not sure where her music is posted. I think she's on YouTube and then perhaps Spotify. Anywho, she's going to be singing one of my favorites, Bury Me in Heaven, Not a Phase, Singing to Your Grave, and the bottom line, you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break. Welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. So yeah, that was 2 hours of the restaurant at the end of the universe, and it was quite good, I must say. Especially the ship that they got transported onto. What the ship was that about? Anyways, during the third hour is when we watch a creepy video together. So we're going to be watching Mr. Ian from Midwest Paranormal Ghost Hunters. Let me see. Quick. Midwest Ghost Hunter. I put a little extra stuff into that. But this is Ian. Please go and subscribe to his channel. He's amazing. And just the innocence about him is just kind of funny. He cracks me up. But he always gets like really epic evidence. So let's do this.
What's going on, guys? Midwest Ghost Hunter here, bringing you yet another ghost hunting alone video. This investigation takes place at one of the most haunted places in Iowa, and that is the Malvern Manor. This place has so many different spirits and claims of activity. It is ridiculous. The manor was originally a
Come on now.
railroad inn built in 1870. However, would eventually transition into a nursing home and later a care
National
facility.
cottage.
Throughout its days of operation, there have been reports of harsh living conditions, neglect, and even physical abuse on patients. It is estimated that over 187 people have died here, and it is believed that many of their spirits are still lingering. One of the spirits that has been cited is Captain Jacob Cullers, the original owner of the cottage hotel. His spirit is said to be
Cullers?
unwelcoming,
That's a
often telling
colorful last
visitors to
name.
get out. The most infamous
Yeah.
ghost is Gracie, a late patient who had
Why are you
personality
blurring her
disorder.
face?
It is reported that Gracie's voice would change unnaturally depending on the personality she is displaying. It is also said that Gracie would often be heard repeating the chilling phrase, "The devil is coming to get me." To this day, her phantom voice can still
you
be
there, sister.
heard, along with other voices believed to be the manifestations of her various personalities. Another spirit is that of an ill-tempered old man named Hank, who used to throw rocks at the neighbor children from the porch. His spirit is said to lash out at anyone who dares enter his room or touch his belongings. Another
touch his stuff.
ghostly resident is Susie, a late patient who had the temperament of an
Hi, Susie.
8-year-old child. Susie's
Oh.
toys have often been seen moving on their own, and it is said that she is trapped in her bedroom due to an unknown entity in the hallway scaring her. One of the saddest hauntings is that of Rebecca, who was committed by her husband after refusing to eat
jerk.
and obsessing about her looks. Rebecca spent her last days at the manor, blankly
he was
staring into
opening
the
up the
mirror, pulling out strands of her hair. There are
Oh,
reports
man.
of disembodied sobbing noises coming from
That's
Rebecca's
sad.
room in the dead of night.
I
The
don't
ghost
like
of a
it.
12-year-old girl named Inez is said to haunt the second floor. In the late 1800s, Inez is
I
said
don't
to
think
have
she
hung
even
herself
lived
in a
there.
closet with a jump rope after suffering abuse from her adopted mother. In room 17 and 18, it is reported that one male patient would repeatedly rape and assault another patient when the nurses were away. Now, there are mixed opinions about these events. Some say that these two patients were actually lovers, and that it was simply documented that way. In the nursing home hallway, there is a tall black mass that has been seen charging at unsuspecting visitors. It is said that room 2 once belonged to a tall and rather deranged patient who was a convicted murderer who would chase the working nurses throughout the building. Up in the attic, there are reports of nauseous feelings, growls, and clawing sounds on the walls. Other paranormal reports include disembodied footsteps, banging sounds, screams and moans, and even scratch marks showing up from unseen forces. It is safe to say I am nervous about this one. Ghost hunting alone at places like this with so many different spirits and ghost
So brave,
stories
dude.
and just reports of dark activity and dark history. I'm overwhelmed. I am definitely overwhelmed. But, as always, I'm not going to chicken out. I'm going to do this. So, if you guys end up enjoying this video, be sure to like it,
Absolutely,
comment
sir.
your thoughts down below on anything that goes down in this video, and also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But anyways, enough of me talking. Let's get to the investigation.
Move on.
Okay, here we go, guys. It's always exciting when I plan these trips, but once you get to these buildings, man, and you finally see it in person, that's when the fear really sets in.
I'd say.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do this.
You got this, Ian.
Here goes nothing.
Here goes quite a bit of something. Well, that's creepy.
Hello?
Oh. It actually popped.
Anybody in here?
Is there anybody out there? I'm not as brave as you, man.
I'm gonna shut myself in here. Hello, my name is Ian.
Hi, Ian.
I'm simply a visitor looking to make contact with anyone who may still be lingering here. If you aren't here, could you give me a sign of your presence somehow? Could you move one of these wheelchairs?
Look at its eyes.
Like this one right here?
Yeah, I'd probably look the same. I would be freaked out. Wow, look at the seat in that one.
If that thing actually moves, that's gonna scare the hell out of me. How about this light fixture? Could you move that? Could you just give it a little push?
Just a little nudge.
Not much is going on right now, but I've got eerie vibes. I am definitely not alone in here.
Nope.
Okay, I've got a K2 meter here. I'm gonna see if I can get any responses from Captain Jacob Colors' ghost. Captain Colors, are you here with me tonight? You were the owner of this building back when it was a hotel. They say that your spirit is still here. Is there any truth to that? If so, could you touch the green light? Is it okay that I'm here? Whoa.
What was
Whoa.
that?
Oh my god, that was a deep thump in this wall here. Is that a yes? Or is it a no? Whew, that was weird. I don't know what to think of that. Definitely surprised me though. That was a loud thump. Thump in this wall. Oh god.
Heck, man?
It just did it again. It seems like whenever I get close to the captain's picture, that thump sound happens. Okay, I'm gonna go up to it a third time. You're gonna thump on the wall again? He's not doing it this time. Captain, if that was you, could you bang on that wall again? He's not doing it. I don't know. That was weird. I don't know. It could be coincidence.
It's interesting. Stop it. Knock it off, man.
I mean, it is an old building, so it does make noise. But that was pretty loud and profound.
That was.
I don't really know. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Oh god, talk about a scary hallway. Is there anyone here? Creepy silence. Are there any former residents still living here? Hello? Oh my god! Oh my god! There was somebody over there! Holy shit! I literally just saw a figure peek out of that room over there.
Play back.
It peeked out and it was looking right at me. Holy.
I want to see it.
Who are you? I just seen you. Could you peek out again? Okay, there's definitely somebody in there. Which means I have to go check it out. Ooh, yay. Who's in here? Who's in here? I just heard somebody in here. Could you make your presence known? Oh, what the? Whoa,
Wow.
whoa, whoa, whoa! The blinds are freaking moving! Holy sh! Are you seeing that? What is going on in here? Thank you, whoever you are. I really know you're in here with me now. Is there a way you could tell me who you are? I'd really like to know. Are you a resident here? Was this once your home? Holy sh! It just did it again. These freaking blinds keep moving by themselves. How do you explain that? I want to feel this window real quick. Is there any drafts in here? I'm not feeling anything. It's completely still outside anyways. There's no wind. I'm at a loss. I've got nothing. This place has some serious paranormal activity.
I'd say it's pretty damn active.
Alright. Checking out the kitchen area. There's not really much for claims in here, but you never know. Is there anybody in here? If you're in here, could you make a sound? Or maybe could you open one of these cupboards? Like this one right here. Could you open this cupboard? Or maybe move something in this sink? Could you move anything in here? Anything at all? Not much really going on in here.
Nope.
Next stop, Grace's room. Whew.
Hey, Gracie.
Grace? Are you in here? Hello. I hope you don't mind me visiting. Is it okay for me to come in? I'm gonna attempt another K2 session. I'm gonna put this device on your wheelchair, okay? I'm just gonna set it right there. If you're in here with me, could you set that device off? Oh wow, there you are. Thank you. Guys, I am getting chills all over my arms. Grace, are you sitting in this wheelchair right now? Before I even finished. Grace, are you able to see me right now? If so, touch the green light. Oh wow, yes. Thank you. This might sound really strange, but I can't see you right now. I don't see you at all, Grace. Are you aware that you've passed on?
What?
Oh my god, I just heard a voice. Grace, was that you I just heard?
I turn up my earbuds. I
I
can't
sent
hear
a
it.
shiver down my spine.
Awesome.
I am hearing her voice. I am hearing her voice in here. It's very faint, but I could definitely hear it.
Wow.
Grace, what do you mean when you say that the devil is after you? Who is the devil? Oh,
What the hell? Is that
That was
Captain
a
Colors?
fucking
Like,
deep
who the heck
voice.
is that?
Holy shit.
I am the one. Ooh. Hell
Oh,
no.
that was terrifying. Come on, Ian. Get it together.
Braver than
Are
me,
you the
feller.
devil that is after her? Oh, what the? Oh, what the?
What was that?
Nope, nope, stop, stop, stop.
Don't run. Wow. Are you serious? Forget about it. Come on, Century Stink. Sorry, guys. My internet sucks.
Oh my god. Her wheelchair just moved by itself. Grace, was that you? I hope it was
Tell me how
you,
much lead is in that paint.
not whoever that.
Oh, God. Turn off my
Other
phone.
voice was. Grace, if you are still here, could you move your chair again? Seems to have gone quiet in here. How do you explain that? This moving. You see that piece of tape? It was behind that piece of tape and it moved forward. Forward. As if
It was crazy. Stop it. Damn it. Come
somebody
on.
was sitting in it. Oh my goodness. Okay. into the nursing home wing. Oh, jeez. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, Jesus. Is anyone in here? This area has a whole different feel, guys. My name is Ian. Could you tell me what room you're in? Could you make a sound where you are?
What was that? Oh my God. So frustrating. Oh my goodness. I really hate this. I hate it. Freaking sentry stink, man. Asshole.
That sounded like a cry. Like a cry for help. Is there somebody down there? Are you okay?
What the heck, man? Come on. No.
Whoa. Whoa. I think that's coming from the room at the end. Okay, I gotta go over there
Is
and
that
look.
what she said? What the heck, dude? That's what it sounded like. It sounded like she said, I'm freezing. Ooh.
Hello? Oh my god. I think this is Rebecca's room. This is Rebecca's room.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Rebecca, are you in here? I thought I heard you. It's okay, sweetie. You don't gotta be upset.
Gosh. Can we please just stop this? So interesting. Quit sucking. Stop it.
I'm like overcome with a sense of sadness. Is it okay that I'm in your room?
What is that?
Oh, whoa.
And that's where she used to stand and pull her hair out and stuff. Poor girl.
I just saw like a light over here.
Wow.
It's like a glowing ball of light. It just floated by her mirror. Are you standing over by your mirror? I think I just seen you. I'm gonna try to take a bunch of pictures.
Wouldn't it be
Rebecca,
freaky?
are you
Wait a
here with
minute.
me?
Kind of looked like there was a head poking out.
I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but I keep seeing something in
That's
the
what
mirror.
I'm saying.
You
Looks
don't
like
have
a
to be
head
shy,
peeking out.
okay? Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. That was another anomaly. Oh my god, it was like in the mirror.
That was crazy. Wow. What the heck?
Are you looking into your mirror right now, Rebecca? Oh my goodness, it is suddenly cold in here. I am getting chills all over my body.
What
What
the
was
heck?
that? What was that?
Play it back. Play it
Oh
back.
my god, she freaking looked at me through the mirror. I just saw her face.
Play it again. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that just gave me goosebumps. That is insane.
Oh my gosh. Am I going crazy?
No, dude.
I literally just saw her face in the mirror. And it's gonna be impossible to see. I have to go down here. My camera light is too bright. Rebecca, if that was you, could you appear just like you did?
Oh, come on. I'm sorry, guys. This is super frustrating. I don't know what to do. And it shows like full towers, you know, full Wi-Fi connection. Unfortunately, this doesn't take Ethernet because it's a newer computer, so it's just all Wi-Fi. And for some reason, my
You were very
extender
beautiful.
isn't working.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to react the way I did. I promise, I won't freak out this time. I'm not seeing her again.
That was crazy activity right there. Seeing if Floyd is on the computer again.
Man, I'm gonna feel really stupid if that was just my eyes playing tricks on me.
No way.
I really feel like I saw it though. It was vivid.
It's so frustrating. It's a buzz. Okay. Let's go.
I'm just gonna have to look at the footage very closely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely happened. Come on. I might have to just switch over to my freaking extender. Sorry, guys.
Okay. So up ahead is where that black mass has been chasing people out of here. And I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the areas I'm dreading the most. Hello? Is anybody down this hallway? I hear that there's an entity that's been chasing people out of here.
It's so freaking frustrating. It shows it's working. Alright, you guys bear with me for a second. I'm gonna try to link up to this router, but it's just not. Why is it not showing up? Come on. So freaking
Well, why don't you come
frustrating.
chase me? Why
Can
did
you
I
pause
say that?
this? And then I'm going to try this router, so we might get disconnected for a second. Oof.
You don't, unless you're scared. Seems like you're too scared to come out here. Whoa, I think I just saw on that one. Whoa, what is that? What is that?
I don't know.
I just saw something dark. What was that? It appeared right by the... Whoa. The battery just died. Here. I really just replaced these. What the... Whoa, what was that?
Knocking of some sort?
Hello? I just heard something. Who are you? Who are these people?
That.
Is that you making noise? God. I feel a heaviness in here. A heaviness. Like it's getting hard to breathe in here.
Wow.
I really don't like this feeling. I can feel your presence. But I'm not afraid. So if you charge it, just know I'm not gonna run. There's this room. At least they
You
think
listed
it's
earlier,
this room.
but you stopped yourself.
Room
Good
2.
job.
That's where that deranged patient used to chase nurses. And that's why they think that that might be coming up to your room, okay? Don't be alarmed.
Oh wow.
Ooh, what is that? What is
The
that?
door's closed. That's so weird.
I keep hearing like movement in there. I can hear you in there. Come on out.
What the heck?
God, that door just partially opened.
I'm not as brave as you.
Come on, Ian.
I would have ran a
Just go
long
up to
time
it.
ago.
Hello? Who's in here? This room's locked. I can't even go in there.
Really?
Why would they lock it? To keep the crack.
He's
The
a ghost.
crack of the
He can walk through
door.
walls.
Anyone?
What?
That just sounded like a breath. That just sounded like a breath. Oh
Sounds
God.
like he's saying, "Hey."
Oh. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh.
Okay, Ian. Oh no! That's why you
gonna
don't run, dude. Holy crap!
Oh God. Oh God. Get me out of here. Oh, I felt something slam that. Holy shit. I don't know how much more of this I got.
What the hell? Did you see
It's
that?
coming after me. Oh God. Oh God. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I'm out of here. I'm done. I can't take this. I can't take it.
Really? Pretty sure? Psycho. Ugh. I'll have to share that
Black
for this
shot
one.
freaking brushed at me. What am I supposed to do? Like, what do you... Because I know I'm going to get people running again.
Aww.
It's whatever. I already did. I'm
They're-
not, but
Karen
I'm
freaking
going to
T.
be investigating areas. 'Cause I don't know with that away.
That was crazy. Crazy.
Alright, so I decided to come outside and snap a bunch of photos. Just see if anything's out here. Hello, is anyone out here with me?
Hello. Some orange.
It's a beautiful night. Great night to be outside.
Wouldn't it be funny if that old guy started throwing rocks at him like he did the kids back in the day?
Whoa. Those sounded like footsteps. Hello? Is there somebody over here? Whoa, whoa, there's a bunch of knobs there.
No, it's gone.
And now they're floating, like, right over here. Is there somebody over here? That was so weird. Alright, time to check out the second floor. Is there anybody up there?
Wow.
What the heck is that? If that was you, could you make that sound again? Oh, whoa. Whoa, what is that? What is that?
Now it's gone.
There's like a weird anomaly up there. It was behind the railing. It was right up here. Oh! What was that? What was that? That sounded like a little girl. Oh! Here. Who the heck is up here? Hello?
Wow.
Whoa. Oh my god. It just flew that way. Into this hallway. Whoa, the door's shut.
Ooh. That's crazy.
God, that is crazy.
That's what I just said.
Oh my god. I just heard running through here. Oh my. And there's a freaky
It was
doll
running towards him.
in the middle of the hallway.
No.
That. like she's guarding this hallway, keeping me from going any further.
Security!
Are you running through this hallway?
What if it was the doll running?
It's okay.
Holy shit.
You're not in trouble. There's so many turns and corners. It's you.
What's with the chair, man?
Hello? Her room is over here. And Inez.
Poor girl. I don't think she hung herself. I think somebody else did that. Because she was playing with her brother, and then she said she was cold and tired and went back to her room. And
that was crazy.
Maybe that guy that was graping
I literally
people
heard her running around up here. And suddenly, like there's nothing. I don't feel anything.
Paranormal Files
I don't
went in
sense
there
anything.
just recently and
Not
sprayed
seeing
luminol
anything.
in that
just goes to
closet,
show
and it looked like there was blood
how
or some
fast
sort of bodily
paranormal
fluids
activity
all over the wall
can
in
just,
the
like,
door.
Come and go. All right. Susie's room. Hello, Susie. Do you mind me visiting? This is a very beautiful
So is it
room.
cute? Yes.
Are you in here right now? I heard you're scared to go out in the hallway. Who's been scaring you? Is it a mean spirit? You don't gotta worry about me, okay? I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to talk to you. I'm gonna try to take your picture, okay?
Wow.
I'm getting like orbs in the... She's in here. She's in here right now. Are you hovering in the general area? Gonna come towards you.
Quick.
Whoa.
Hello?
I'm hearing like tapping sounds on the wall. Is that you, Susie? She lived on one of these coloring pages. It was like this. It was one of those. Susie, I heard you really like coloring. Is that true? Oh, could you move one of these coloring pages? I see you got a whole coloring book here too. Is this your favorite color book? Oh my god! Oh my god! She just flipped the page! What the... What the... What did I just witness? She literally just flipped her book. I cannot believe what I cannot believe that.
Can't make that shit up.
Susie? Just flip this page? Are these your favorites? Your favorite pages? I have got goosebumps. Goosebumps. Could you flip to another page? I'd like to see what else is in here. If it does it again, I don't know what I'm gonna do. That is gonna shock the hell out of me. Susie, I also heard you like to play with toys. One of these? This doll here? Stuffed bunny. Could you move that?
It's a creepy looking bunny.
What What the?
Wow.
Who's out here? Hello? There's nobody out here.
Is the light
Holy
switch
moly, I
outside
literally
the
just heard the
hallway?
light switch and everything. Oh my god. She literally just turned the lights on.
That's insane. She's like, why are you hanging out in the dark, dude?
Holy crap. System. I've been walking around the dark for hours. Susie, did you just turn this light? I took it off the infrared just to show you guys what I'm seeing right now. I can see a lot better now, so thank you.
Wow, dude.
I can't see.
Seriously?
Oh, I am getting really freaked out in here. Jeez Louise, it's almost like she's toying with me. Are you having fun messing with me? It's okay if you are, I mean, that's why I'm here. So thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
It's just the floor's creaking.
Kind of exploring around the other rooms I haven't been to yet. Hello? Is anyone in here? Let's see if anyone's in here. Hello?
TV's on.
Anyone in here? What was that? What was that? That sounded like a man screaming. Oh God.
Wow.
I really don't want to do this. Who's yelling?
Maybe it's coming from.
This way. God, what the fuck is that? Who's there? It's coming from this end. This end of the building. Oh my God. Oh God, here we go. Hello? Hello? Who's up here? You know what? Now that I think about it, that is Hank's room.
Hi, Hank.
This is Hank's room right here. I wonder if it's where the shouting came from. Oh, let's see what happens if I knock on his door.
Open.
Here?
Do you have propane?
Is
Propane
everything okay in
accessories?
there? Okay. He is definitely in there. God. Some more fun exploring an angry old man's ghost. Nothing, I tell ya. Whoa. It didn't even open. Hank, is that you, buddy? mind me visiting. Is it okay if I come in? This room definitely has a weird smell. Are you over in this corner? Hank, I heard you shouting in here. What's the matter? Are you in distress? What's interesting is I was told that in these dressers, holy crap, that was loud. Yeah, let's
Good
make some more
Lord.
noise. These are actually his original clothes, still here
He doesn't like
after
you to
all
touch
this
his
time.
stuff.
So never left. This is still his room with all of. What else does he have here? Anything in there? No. Oh, gross. What is that? Those look like almost like fingernail clippings in there.
Gross.
Yeah, I'm definitely not touching those. What is that? Holy sh! Oh my
told
god!
you he don't
Oh my
like you
god!
touching
Oh my
his
god!
stuff.
What was that? What was that? It was the coat hanger! How do you explain that? Oh, I'm sorry, Hank. I didn't mean to disrespect you. I'll leave you alone if you want me to. Do you want me to leave? Okay.
Yeah, better get.
I am out of here. Is there anyone in any of these rooms? Right now I'm just taking pictures everywhere. Anybody in this room? What was that? That was a crazy weird sound. It came from the bathroom. Over here. Is there somebody in there? Somebody's in there. What the heck is that? It just looked like somebody sitting,
It's a booty.
like in the bathtub.
That's crazy.
And it's not there anymore. It's completely gone. I'm about to be the Midwest ghost pervert.
That's what I was
For the
saying.
sake
Don't
of
be a
research.
pervy.
There's nobody. Damn, that was creepy.
That was
I'm sorry to have disturbed you. Whoa!
crazy.
That freaking curtain just moved! Oh god, how do you explain that now? This is so freaking... I'm speechless. What the hell? So there's room 18 and 18. And this is where all those assaults took place.
That's not good.
Now, that sounds pretty horrible on paper, but a lot of people theorize that it may not have been assaults, but instead, the two men were lovers.
Oh.
And it was just, well, documented that. Is there any truth to that? To what I'm saying?
I wonder why it would be documented
Could you
that
tell
way.
me your
Maybe
story?
to cover their asses or something?
I really want to know what happened. Because if it's true, and it wasn't a song, you can clear your name right now.
Thanks, Adrian.
How about in this room? Is anyone in here?
Earlier, there's
Could
been
you
a
give
lot
me
of
a
epic
name?
evidence.
Go by. Because I have no idea who I'm talking to right now. My name is Ian. If that helps. I'm not hearing anything or seeing anything. That was upstairs.
Check it out.
It's sort of like dragging. That much time here, but I gotta see. I gotta see what that was. Thank you for your time. Oh God, I really do not want to go up there.
What do you do? Just do
Here
it.
goes.
Is the smoke shit upstairs in the attic? I'm not sure.
Hello?
I just peeked over really quick.
Oh,
What the heck is that?
oh God. I go up there. Can't I just be done for the night?
Do it.
Oh, come on, Ian. Who's up? I hear you.
Braver
Moving
than
around. Make another sound. Oh,
Go look.
oh God. All right. Let's just. Right. I'm coming up. Oh God. These stairs are narrow and tiny. And not to mention, it's pitch black up here. This is nothing. Abyss.
Sounds like a water drip.
I don't know what's scarier, the ghosts or how steep those steps are. You fell down these steps. That's like a death sentence.
Yeah, don't run
I
down.
heard some stuff moving around up here. Who's up here?
I wonder if it was the chair.
Got a really uneasy feeling up here. Oh man. Creepy crawl space. Oh. They say that they hear clawing sounds up here. Well, that animals can get up here.
Oh, it looked like a hand for a second.
If I actually see like a raccoon or something, I'm gonna freak out. Hello?
Oh man,
my
that's
God,
your
something
rocks
just
with
got
the kids
thrown.
back in the day.
Are you throwing stuff up here? Why are you throwing stuff? Holy shit. Holy shit. I don't want to be up here anymore. I don't want to be up here anymore. I want to be done. Oh God. Holy shit, I just heard a growl. They're not right up here. Not right at all. If something gets thrown again, I'm out of here. Bye, Bells. I'm done. I can't take it anymore. Can't be
Going down those
out of
stairs,
here.
dude. You don't want to hurt yourself. Oh wow, did you see it fly by? That is insane. Wow. Well, that was crazy. What do you think about that? I'm not that brave. I would not go myself. I'm too much of a chicken shit. Seriously. All right, let me get this queued up for our outro. All right. Thanks so much for joining me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It was a pleasure having you and reading to you and watching a video with you. Thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, YouTube, KPNL Radio, Twitter, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, wherever you may be on the Omniverse tonight. I had one, and I can't wait to do it again next week. We have the psychic Chris Garcia on Saturday, and then we have Mr. Dr. Christopher Macklin. He's going to be talking about the Vatican cover-up. A lot to say about that. There's a whole lot of covering up going on over there. Don't forget, you guys, we are almost together. Together we can make the world a bit better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there's no us. Until next time, 9911 Live out there, thank you so much once again for tuning in to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you don't work too hard, and I'll see you back here, same crazy time, same crazy place. 9911 Live. Bye, meow.